All right. So then Isaiah in South Korea is actually the person who had both of us at different times on their show. We did 2 guest appearances. Isaiah wants to talk about how to be self-assertive in a conversation without walking over other people. Isaiah, you're live with Eric and V.
Yeah, thank you guys. Actually, first and foremost, did you guys enjoy your copies that I sent you?
Yes, thank you so much.
We did. Thank you.
And actually, I have to send a very big apology to V because I accidentally misgendered you twice and I bleeped it out. And so I apologize. It was a genuine, serious mistake.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very thoughtful of you.
Yeah. I used a profanity bleep word. So anyway,
I like
you
it.
Can't hear it.
That's a fun way to deal with
I
that.
got the they half the time. And then the other half, it was just, I was in the moment, and then I didn't even realize it until afterwards. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just need a slight bit of patience in explaining this. So just please, a little bit of patience, okay?
All right, go for it.
Because, so I grew up like a minister's kid, okay? And so my parents would adopt like these kids. In fact, one of them it's funny, that last guy was calling in because that whole satanic panic started off like in Bakersfield, California, and one of the boys who was forced to testify, and lie, was actually came to our house. But anyway, point is that my parents are ministers, and I was just kind of really shy. And one of those guys, for example, would constantly hook up with my girlfriends. Okay. So I had no ability to confront him about it. I mean, he just walked all over me like I was a doormat, you know?
Aww.
And so this persisted on for a really, really long time in my life. And when I came here to South Korea, a girl I was dating, she got me a book about how to be assertive. And it was teaching a lot of things in there about maintaining your cool, clearly explaining both sides of what's going to happen if this issue is not addressed. But all that, so I learned how to be assertive, and I learned that being assertive is a fine line. It's a line between being walked over and being obnoxious and arrogant and pushy. Okay, So that's the context. Okay, so just today in South Korea, there's a lot of corona cases going on, and the church that I work with was violating all of these protocols that and putting kids' lives in danger. And when I try to confront them with this, and even using the Bible, the guy just started laughing at me and just blowing me off. And I lost it. I started screaming and yelling, and even used a lot of profanities because I was so furious that they were putting these kids in danger, and then they were laughing at me about it. So this question is very specifically to Eric, because Eric is is one of the most non-intimidating, intimidating people I've seen online, because
that's a good way to put that.
He has no. It's like he could own someone without ever in a whisper voice, and I couldn't do that because that would cause me. So how do you do that? How do you control yourself? I'm sorry, that was a lot of.
No, that was
background story.
First of all, before Eric jumps in,
I need advice.
Eric needs a moment to compose himself because he's feeling very shy right now. But Isaiah, that was a really well constructed lead into your question. So thank you for that, and also thank you for asking this question, especially in the way that you are, for the purpose that you are, to protect kids as people are acting negligently towards them. So thank you for calling in. Eric, take it away.
Okay, well, so there are, could you turn up my volume just a little bit? Thank you. Okay, geez, Isaiah, I hate to tell you, but there are kind of two Erics. There's the Eric on the show, and then there's the Eric in real life. And yeah, the Eric on the show is the guy who wears the jacket, and it's kind of and it took a long time to kind of develop this and to develop myself. And because of that, I have a lot more confidence because I feel like I'm kind of wearing a version of myself, and so if I were to be in your shoes, I can't guarantee that I would be better. In fact, I probably might not be. And the things that I would need to recognize is that ever since I was a kid, I'm just going to share way more about myself than I thought I ever would on this show. But ever since I was a kid, I was lucky enough in my early teens to be put into therapy, and something that my therapy
lucky you.
Yeah, I'm very, 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 very lucky for that. Yeah, one of the things that I learned is that most of my upset happens over things that I don't have control over. And that's the case for most people. People feel angry and upset when they see something that they want to change and cannot change that thing. And so the first thing to do is to put it into a better perspective, right? When I do the show, the perspective I have is I want to have these conversations, and I want to be the version of me that can be useful and helpful and provide those kinds of tools and examples for other people. But in my day-to-day life, when I look at it, I go, okay, what are my limitations? Isaiah, you cannot take responsibility for what the shitty things those people are doing. You can't take responsibility for the consequences of other people's actions. As much as you want to, as infuriating as it is, it's not fair to Isaiah. And so the first thing to do is to set an expectation and go, the only person I have control over is myself. And everything past that needs to be in that context. And so you don't have the ability to reach into these other people's brains and make them. Gosh, I wish you could. I really wish that was a skill.
Hold on. Let me chime in for a second. Yeah. I actually am reporting them tomorrow because
good.
I mean, they literally, I uploaded one of my sermons and they asked me to take it down because they said, oh, well, they got this Corona thing going on. So they were more upset about me uploading one of my sermons than them actually keeping these kids safe. And I explained it to the guy, and I explained it. I pointed him to the Bible where it says that we need to follow the laws of the land, And you and I talked about this, about differences between Korea and American law, and about why that tells me I can't endorse Christianity as a Christian in America, because I would be violating the Constitution. So anyway, this situation, I was very, very upset with myself though, because I dropped a lot of profanities. I insulted the guy personally. I yelled in his face. I could have about killed somebody.
Isaiah?
I was so furious.
As a third party who's hearing about this, it sounds like that guy fucking deserved it. Like, it's okay, man. If you lost your temper, if you lost your cool, recognizing that it happened and going, hey, you know what? Okay, what am I going to do moving forward? But guilting yourself after the fact is only going to have so much use. If you're going to motivate yourself to increase the patience and empathy in conversations moving forward, fantastic. If it's meant to just kind of self-flagellate, it's okay.
I'm going to take this entire clip, record it on my phone, and play it back at you at regular intervals.
I know, because I do this to myself all of the time.
All the time. Yeah, Isaiah, there's a level of learning from a unfortunate occurrence, right, that we can take forward. Are we thinking now in terms of what to do next? It sounds like you're spot on in that. Hey, there are going to be times where confronting the individual is not even going to be the best way forward, right? Definitely have an initial conversation, but if you can go report them for being, being dangerous towards these kids, that's a better and more effective way to do it that puts less pressure on you to be the defender and also is more effective in the long run. So when you're looking at a situation like this, definitely take all of what Eric said into account in terms of how would I go about dealing with this. But a lot of the time it's not on you at all. And all you need to do is figure out who else needs to deal with this and get them in touch, Yeah.
I see. Well, thank you guys very much for your info. I am in love with Eric. I think I try to be. Eric is like I'm going to make a bracelet that says WWED, What would I ever do?
I like
it. And just one last thing to V. I'm asking for forgiveness because the Bible tells me that if I go to present an offering to God and I realize that I've wronged somebody, that I should try to go and make it right. And I even though I can say it was 100% accident, I did do what I could to undo it. But yeah, I am sorry. And so if you have your forgiveness, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. You know what, Isaiah? You have dealt with that more effectively and honestly and vulnerably than anybody else who has ever misgendered me. And it's not as big a deal to me, but I really do forgive you. That's absolutely, you have my forgiveness there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Take care. Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
You know, even though we obviously have different religious beliefs, gosh, if everybody was like Isaiah, we wouldn't do a show.
Yeah, no, honestly, like that was really, really sweet. And honestly, the bleep out is a really funny way to do that. I kind of like it a lot. Yeah, it's really cool. Good for Isaiah. I wish him well moving forward.
Yeah, and maybe we can put the link to the interviews in the description for this.
Absolutely. Although I did make a mistake. I got him and Nick mixed up. That wasn't Nick. That was Isaiah. Isaiah was the person who you were on his podcast. I don't know if it's come out yet because you pre-recorded it. Mm-hmm. So once that's out, we'll link it.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Oh, before we we move on, I know we're coming up on time. We never gave out the number to call the show.
Oh my goodness, we never did we? And because of our intro and our not having our lower third, it's more difficult for people to call the show.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to make sure
to do that.
Yeah, at the beginning of every episode.
The live chat mods have been on top of it with Nightbot, but
because they're amazing.
Because they are amazing.
If you want to call the show and you're in the United States, you can call 585-LaMurph. That's 585-526-8774. Or if you don't want it on your phone bill, if you are international, you want to call for free online, you can go to tiny.cc/callsg. Capital S, capital G for some reason. But tiny.cc/callsg. Or if you're watching on YouTube live, in the banner at the top, there are several links. And one of those links is to call the show. Also, we have call the show links in the description for this. So if you want to call us and talk to us, please do. We'd love to talk to you about what you believe and why. And those are the ways to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.